In today's tutorial, an end of summer sunflower illustration that you can be successful with no matter your skill level. Hey, welcome back. My name is Shayda Campbell, and around here we make art and it's fun, not scary. Today I'm working in my traveler's notebook. I've had this for like 10 years. I'm using my Shayda Campbell branded watercolor set, but any watercolors will do. We've got a cup of tea and a whole bunch of my favorite Faber-Castell colored pencils. So let me show you my old notebook. You can put different inserts, like journal inserts into it. So what I'm going to be using is a sketchbook insert. It has like nice, heavy white pages, and everything is linked in the video description. Our sunflower art today is going to begin with watercolor. Watercolor is so great for just laying some color down, and then after that, you can add lots of detail with marker or pencil crayon or whatever you want. So anyways, let's mix up a nice yellow for these flowers. I am mixing Naples yellow with that brighter cadmium yellow, and then I'm putting white in there. White kind of gives it a gouache-like look where it's going to be very opaque and really stand out on the paper. And I talked about that in last week's video, the forbidden watercolor technique. We talked about sort of white versus water for lightening our watercolors, so go check that out if you haven't already. I'm going to start by drawing a rectangle on my journal paper here. And then we're going to fill this rectangle in with lots and lots of sunflowers. And you can begin the sunflower by sort of drawing with the paint a little oval, and then you just go around and paint a whole bunch of messy petals. And I get very, very messy with this because I want them to look like realistic in an illustrative way. I want them to look perfectly imperfect and organic. I'm going to add a little bit more white to the to the pigment at this point to make some of them a little bit of a more buttery yellow. And then by the same token, then you can add a little more Naples yellow and make some a little darker. So basically, I just want some different colors of yellow within this piece. But you can see what we're going to do is just group a whole bunch of sunflowers together. Paint oodles of sunflowers, have them overlapping and all messy and grouped together, but leave the bottom quarter open and the top quarter open. If you're going to put a sunflower peeking outside of the rectangle, just be sure to erase, because once you paint over pencil, you won't be able to erase it. You'll see it through the paint most likely. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. It does not have to be totally symmetrical. You can see I've got a few kind of going up and off in the top right. And then once you're happy with your big messy starburst of sunflowers, mix up a bit of green paint. I am using sap green and olive green, my two favorite greens, mixed with a bit of burnt umber. So anytime you mix in a little brown or red, that's going to help make the green look more earthy, which I love. It's that warm end of summer green. And I've got the green pigment in my round brush, and I'm going to fill in the bottom of this piece with stems and leaves. So I like to hold the brush a little higher and then just add pressure and make these messy shapes, and they will look like leaves or clusters of leaves. So you just kind of add a little pressure and wiggle that brush around on the paper, making the leaves a bit smaller as you go higher, or making your wiggly, messy shapes a little smaller as you go higher up on the paper. Larger leaves are at the bottom, and then you can also just do some vertical brush strokes to give the look of stems in and around and poking out from behind the leaves. So you can see it's quite messy, but the idea here is you want to get lots of green onto that bottom quarter of the paper and lots of green in between the sunflowers. And that really can just be wiggles and shapes in between the flowers. We just want to make it look as if the leaves and stems are back there, but it can be very, very perfectly imperfect. And I think she's looking pretty good. Big leaves at the bottom, couple little stems up there at the top, and we are good. We're going to let that dry completely. So rinse your brush, put away your paints, and give it a second, and grab those colored pencils, because here's what we're going to do. We are going to add all the detail to this sunflower illustration with other mediums, with pencils, or you could even use markers. And the first detail is just to take medium brown and add ovals to the center. So super simple. Then you can use the same brown or a slightly darker brown and just go around and do this like spiky little crown, I'll call it. So you're just drawing like kind of little semicircles around the stamen. And then I was about to add a little bit of yellow to the petals, but then I thought, no, I want to skip to the step where I really show you the magic of this piece. And the magic is adding dark green. So grab a really nice, sharp, dark green colored pencil, and we are going to color in all the negative space. Yes, everything, every little bit of white that's showing through. You add that dark green colored pencil and watch the magic happen. And then here's a hint. If you don't have a lot of white, just add dark green wiggles and squiggles or little rectangles and lines, thick lines of dark green. And again, watch the magic happen, baby. Now, if you only have watercolor, if you don't have colored pencil in your artist kit in your desk, you could do this with dark green watercolor and a small brush. So just wait for everything to dry. The steps are the same. Once that first layer is dry, you can go back in with a marker, a colored pencil, or a little bit of watercolor, and just make sure it's really dark. All right, next up, we're going to take a blue marker or colored pencil or crayon even, or pastel. I'm just very into mixed media lately, can you tell? And I outlined the rectangle once again, just so I could see my border. And then I'm doing this really playful, messy, colored in blue sky. So all I'm doing is basically just coloring in section by section, and I do all the lines kind of going one direction, and they're all kind of one height, and then I do another section and all those lines are one height. You can see, and it's just quite playful and has sort of a childish quality that I love. I'm going to darken up the sky right around the flowers, and then I'll leave it at that. But yeah, very fun. You could do that with crayon, and I think it would look so pretty. I'm going to add a few small lines with the dark green kind of going off the sides. That's how I've sort of finished the edges down at the bottom, because the dark green is shadow. Well, it can't really just end with shadow. So let it end with sort of dark green grass. You could put a few veining lines on some of the leaves if you want to, or even shade some of the leaves kind of a medium green. And then from here on out, we are just looking at the most finishy of finishing touches. And here's where I'm going to come in with sort of a dark golden yellow and maybe add a few petal shapes on some of the flowers. I tried a few different yellows. I drew some of the petals, other ones I shaded. Then I tried like kind of a golden brown, and that sort of stood out in a nice way, but you could play around and see what you like the look of. This is a very fun sketchbook exercise that, you know, has no rules, and you can do whatever you like. And it really takes the length of like a cup of tea. This took me about 25-30 minutes to do, and that's with the dry time as well. So yeah, a lot of fun. This was a really fun, chilled out piece that I think has a nice end of summer vibe to it. So thank you guys for being here and for making art with me today. Remember, art could be fun, not scary. If you like this kind of content, hit that subscribe button. And if you would like a transfer page to put this into your own sketchbook and have a sketch to actually work from, head over to patreon.com/Shayda Campbell and sign up. It's just $3 a month or $33 for an entire year. Thanks for being here, friends. I'll see you soon with a new tutorial.